Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Kaylee and I'm a homeschooling mom of 2, and today I was going to share with you the curriculum choices for my upcoming 7th grader for the 2021-2022 school year. The majority of this curriculum is actually new to us. We are making some changes because a lot of his past curriculum ended in 6th grade, so we had to find some new choices for 7th grade. And hopefully I'll be able to keep you updated throughout the year how these curriculum work for us. I'm just going to give you a brief look at what we're using today, and if there's anything you want to see more in depth, let me know in the comments below, and I will try to get a video up on that. This curriculum is just, after hours of researching what I thought would work for our family. That doesn't mean it's right for every family, but just hope it helps you to get some ideas and maybe a look into some curriculum that you haven't seen before. We're going to start with the Bible curriculum. We're going to be using the Who is God book from Apologia. That comes with a textbook and then a notebooking journal for the students to use. This I think will actually only take us one semester, doing about 3 days a week. And here's kind of the table of contents of what's included. I think it has 10 lessons, and each lesson has, and then it says the big idea of that lesson, what you will do states the objectives. They each have a short story, a section that says think about it, vocabulary words you need to know, hide it in your heart, which I think is Bible memory verses, integrated learning. Throughout the text they have interesting articles with age-appropriate approach. What should I do, which highlights a godly character trait, prayer, worldview study, and house of truth. There's just a quick look kind of at what the book looks like. This is one of the stories used. It's just kind of a quick look through what this book looks like. And then it comes with a notebooking journal, and they do have a younger student notebooking journal for like K through 3rd grade, and then this notebooking journal is for the upper grades. And it just has places for the students to take notes in, and I think it has some fun things like crossword puzzles in it. It has discussion questions, place for prayer, place for the memory verse, and I think this is going to be fun to work through. I'm not sure how my kids will feel about it, but we'll find out. Anyway, so this is our Bible curriculum, and next I will show you what we have chosen for language arts. So we have a few different things for language arts. I'm going to use vocabulary from classical roots. My son does pretty well in spelling, so we're going to switch from spelling and just go into doing vocabulary. And the vocabulary from classical roots just uses, like each section is using a certain type of root for the words that are in each unit. I think the beginning, it starts with like number, so lesson 1 and 2 are numbers. So it uses all the roots that teach you mono means 1, bi means 2, tri means 3, etc. And this has different exercises to do with each lesson. These like fill in the blanks, And then after each 2 lessons, I think there's like a review. So review for exercises for lessons 1 and 2. And then you do the review. It's writing and discussion activities, some fill in the blank. Looks like some multiple choice. And it also has a test booklet, which has multiple choice tests after each 2 lessons, I believe. And then this is the teacher's guide and answer key. So it tells you what to go over with your students, and it has the answer key for all of the practice in the student book. And it has a tells you how to schedule your instruction for this. We're actually using Homeschool Planet to schedule, and this has one of the lesson plans, so I went ahead and bought the lessons plans for this so I can just look at that to see what we need to do. So that is our vocabulary. And for writing and literature, we have decided we're going to go with essentials in writing and essentials in literature. My son has done a couple of years worth of IEW writing classes, and he does fairly well writing, so hopefully this will be good for him. It has DVDs somewhere with the lessons on it, and so it has an instructor that teaches the lessons. And the writing part, this is the teacher handbook, which is pretty small, so it's mostly just an answer key. It also has a schedule for if you're using both essentials in writing and essentials in literature, how you can schedule them both together to use over 34 weeks. So this is actually really directed to the student, almost everything. It teaches, I think the first part has just some kind of grammar practice. It says parts of speech, sentence structure, common problems, and then Unit 2 starts composition. It has paragraphs, so it talks about expository, persuasive, descriptive, compare paragraphs. Then it has personal narratives, business letters, and essays, a descriptive personal letter, and then at the end is a research project. So I really like that it's very clear in here, you know, lesson 2, day 1, exactly everything that he needs to do on that day. And then it says day 2, so he'll be able to see exactly everything that he needs to do the next day. And this is the beginning part that is just really the grammar in the beginning. And then, so we get further in here. Okay, I think it's a different color. So this is a different color once you get into the paragraphs. So then it has areas for brainstorming, and it's even got check marks for them, or for me to check it off after it's complete. And it tells you whenever you need a separate sheet of paper to draft the paragraphs. It tells you what you need to do for your final draft. And then it has a checklist for capitalization, punctuation errors, just for, you know, checking all of that. And it also has a checklist for the student, for them to be able to check that they have included all of these things. And then for the teacher, it has a rubric for grading. Essentials in Writing does also offer a grading service. I did not purchase that this year, but it's definitely something that I may choose to do in the future. And it also has extra practice pages if your student needs extra practice for any of these topics. And to go along with that, we have the Essentials in Literature, which is the same. It also has DVDs for the lessons. And it has sections on fiction, which uses short stories. Then it has a section on nonfiction, which also uses short stories. It has one novel study, which is going to be Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. And then it has a poetry unit. And each of these has a play button here whenever you need to watch a video. And it again says day 1, so it's very clear to the student what he needs to be working on. Same thing, video, video. And then here, where it has a little book, I believe that is where you are supposed to read the short story. So the one downfall with this is that it actually doesn't, it did come with the novel, but it does not come with the actual literature. So you need to find the short stories online. Although if you join their Facebook group, they do have an area where you can easily find people have compiled the literature together, which is really awesome. I understand that they do that to help keep the cost of this lower, so that they can keep it more affordable. And this is just going through the story elements. And again, you can see each day that there's a video, and it has grading areas, so it tells you how many points each activity is worth, so you can check it if you want to grade for your students. It's got some vocabulary, figurative language, and then some independent practice. And then again, so that goes to the next unit. This one is the story Thank You Ma'am by Langston Hughes. And then it goes again into day 1, day 2, what all you need to do. So here's just a quick look through this. Again, if you want to see anything more in depth, let me know in the comments so I can add that. I can try to make a video on that for you. Teacher's Handbook, same thing. It's pretty much just an answer key. So this should be able to be completed pretty independently by your students. So for math, we just finished level 6 of math lessons for living education, and that's the last level. So we've decided that we are going to move on to Math UC. Sorry, I forgot to grab the DVD. So it comes with a DVD with the lessons taught on here, and then it has a student workbook, a test booklet, and an instruction manual. So each lesson in here has several worksheets. So for instance, lesson 1 has 1A, B, C, D, E, F. So the first 3 I think are just lesson practice, and then the next 3 are kind of review pages. And so we can just do as many or as little of these pages that he needs for each lesson, depending on how well he has already mastered that material. Math UC is a mastery program. And here's a chart of everything that this goes through. And so it tells you then the lesson practice, system review, so you can check everything off. And everything it goes through: negative numbers, roots and radicals, surface area, polynomials, and all of the topics. This is what the worksheets look like. I really picked this because I really like that it's just the white, clean worksheet with just the problems on it. Some of the math books I've seen look a lot more complicated, and my son really needs simple on his pages for him not to be really overwhelmed with it. Just a glance through the student workbook. Glance at the test book, lit. Let's go. It's also got unit test for groups of lessons. And each lesson has its own test so that you can make sure your student has mastered that before moving on to the next lesson. And an instruction manual in case you ever need to go back or your student needs to go back and see some extra help on each of the lessons. Each one gives examples. So that is our math choice for the year. Now for science. We are going to use Apologia, Exploring Creation with General Science. He is actually going to be taking a class outside of the house for this. Another homeschool mom in our area does a science class, so he'll get to do labs and things with several other kids. And so this is the book that she uses for that class. So he will be doing this on her schedule. He'll go to class once a week, and I think they'll do a lot of the labs and some of the information, and then he'll have to read and do some of it also at home on the other days during the week for his homework. So this has the textbook, which is just a glance inside. I know a lot of people have said Apologia is very wordy. My son is a pretty good reader and he likes science, so hopefully it will be okay for him. And then it came with solutions and tests, or these are the tests and then the solutions here and that. And then the student notebook, which is really big. And he will be using this to take notes and hopefully learning how to take notes in class, since he hasn't really had a whole lot of that experience before. I think I really would have liked something like this at his age. I'm not sure how he'll do with it, but we will find out. And then for history, I have went back and forth many times on what we were going to use. And we have landed on doing Not Grass, From Adam to Us. We're probably going to spread this out more than just 1 year. I feel like trying to squeeze all of this in 1 year gives us not a lot of time to dive deeper into any of the topics that my kids are interested in. So we are going to take it slow, and just anything that we're interested in, take some time to study that more in depth or read some more books on it. So it may take us 1.5 to 2 years to get through this. But I really love the look of these textbooks. The pictures are awesome in these books. So you can get a little look at what the pictures look like. I also love that at the end of each lesson it has optional assignments. So it can tell you what else you can do. You can read Our Creative World, which is another book that comes with the Not Grass, From Adam to Us, and it has like original documents to look at, and talks about, like, it's got stories and poems, art and games and things like that. And then a student workbook or a lesson review. I did get the lesson review for my 7th grader. My younger one will be using the student workbook. So the lesson review is just like 5 questions for each lesson. And then it has the options for vocabulary, creative writing, and literature. We'll probably skip a lot of the writing things since they have their own writing programs. The literature we will be reading, but it'll be done kind of more as a read aloud, not necessarily that we'll be doing the exact chapter that it says it's on. We'll just go through those books and probably add in several others. So this was book 1, Creation to Cathedrals, and part 2 is Castles to Computers. I do like this about each lesson or unit has a world biography section, and then it has a section that is God's wonder. So God created North and South Pole, so it's got places. And then daily life section, and then it has our world story and a world landmark. So each unit, which is typically designed to be a 5-day week, has each of those sections in them. We will be splitting it over a couple weeks, but I really liked that about these books. It also includes a map book, which tells you everything that you need to do on the maps. And I really liked this about this curriculum, so I don't have to go find my own maps. And a timeline. My kids like this better than some of the other timelines that they've done because it already has it in the correct spot. And my kids have found that they put things on another timeline and then they find out later when they come back and need to add something else that they don't have room for it. So I like that these are already all in order. They just have to fill it in. And it has the answer key for everything. I believe the lesson review also has literature questions. It also has tests in the back for the units if you want to test. And then it does also have questions on the Golden Goblet. So it's got discussion questions for each of the literature. And I'll show you which literature is included. So we have the Golden Goblet, the Fables of Aesop, the Bronze Bow, a Single Shard, Otto of the Silver Hand, the King's Fifth, Madeline Takes Command, the Switherby Pilgrims, the Chest Street Oak, and Children of the Storm. So we will just read these probably kind of in order, but not necessarily following the exact chapters in the book because we might read more, read ahead, read on the weekends, and we will probably add in some extra historical fiction novels just because we really enjoy that. It's always my kids' favorite part of the curriculum. So that is the majority of what we are going to be doing. I did also get this book, A Young Scholar's Guide to Composers, to try to maybe start adding some music in. This kind of just goes through different composers, kind of tells a little bit of their story, and it has a companion guide that you can print things from online, so you can print worksheets and coloring pages and things like that to go with each of your lessons. So it just goes through and it tells you which time period. And then in the back, it also has listening suggestions. So you can find each section in which songs, and even some YouTube links to be able to find music to listen to for each of the different composers as you study them. And for art, we will probably try to do some lessons from the Let's Make Art YouTube channel. And that's about it. I hope that this helped you get kind of a look at some of this curriculum. And if you're interested in seeing more, then let me know. Thanks for watching.